Welcome back, everybody. It's Zach here, bringing you guys another fantasy football video. This one I'm going to be going over the final 8 games of Week 15, going through every single fantasy relevant player and doing what I can to help you guys get those lineups set and hopefully get yourselves a win and to move on to the semifinals in your fantasy football leagues. Hopefully you played Kyle Pitts last night. Bijan obviously had a fantastic game. Relatively fun game, actually. It was pretty high scoring, a bit of an upset as well. So great Thursday night game. I think we're off to a great start unless you went against Kyle Pitts last night. If you guys enjoy this video, just give it a thumbs up. If you have any specific questions or comments, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to help you guys out. I will respond to you guys with start-sit questions before the games kick off on Sunday morning. And let's go get some wins this week. Let's get into it. We'll start things off here with the Browns at the Bears. This is going to be an incredibly cold game. I believe I saw that the wind chill is going to be near like the -10, 20 degrees at kickoff, or 10 degrees at kickoff, something like that. It's going to be really cold. Not expecting this to be exactly the most high-scoring game. I think the Bears are going to have a really hard time throwing the ball against the Browns. So I really just like the ground game for both teams here. I think you're playing Judkins. I think you can play both Swift and Monangai. And then Harold Fannon's really the only pass catcher in this game that I want to play just because I think he's so necessary to this Browns offense. So I'd sit Caleb. I don't want to play Jerry Jeudy. Even if Odunze plays, I don't want to play him. Even if he's out, I don't want to play Burden or DJ Moore. I don't want to play Loveland. I really would just prefer to play the running backs and Fannin in this one. We've got our second NFC South matchup of the week. We've got the Panthers at the Saints. For the Panthers, you're going to put McMillan right back into your lineup. I think I could play Rico as like a low-end running back too. It's annoying because they're kind of splitting things between him and Chuba. Chuba's a good player as well. So it's going to be a hot hand approach. You could easily be disappointed with either one of those players. So, honestly, I'd play Devin Neal over both of them. We had Alvin Kamara ruled out earlier today. But I still think I'd play Rico over Chuba, and it just doesn't get me super excited there. Not going to play any other Panthers in that one. And then for the Saints, like I mentioned, I feel decent about Devin Neal. And then if you have to, I feel pretty good about Chris Olave, too, as a low-end wide receiver, too. If you're stacked, you don't have to play him, but I think he's a guy that I feel good about in my lineup here. You can't really run on the Panthers, so the Saints will have to throw, and you can do that relatively easily outside of J.C. Horn out there. Quite possibly the game of the week here. We've got the Lions at the Rams. For the Lions, it's pretty easy. You're going to play Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and J-Mo. I honestly feel like Goff is almost a must-start as well. This is a game with an incredibly high over-under. The Rams have a phenomenal run defense as well, so it really sets up to be a game where the Lions are having to throw the ball. It could easily be a game that finishes like 31-35. So you're going to want pieces in this game. I think the only real question mark for me for the Lions is going to be Monty. Very touchdown dependent, of course. I think he's like right in like that Chris Rodriguez tier of player. Obviously more name value associated with him, but he's by no means a must start. You're just praying he falls in the end zone if you play him. Had 6 carries last week, right? It worked out. He had 60 yards and a touchdown, so you were okay. But if he doesn't fall in the end zone, you're definitely in trouble there. For the Rams, Puka, Adams, Stafford, and Kyren are all in. Keep an eye on Adams. As of recording this, I haven't seen an update on his practice status for Friday, but he didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. So if Adams missed, I don't think I'd play anyone else. It would just give me more confidence in Colby Parkinson as a streaming option. But Puka obviously is in line for a massive game in this one. Kyren, annoying seeing Corum get half the work here. I think you can actually play Corum as a lower end option as well. He's like right in the same tier as David Montgomery for me. So honestly, might get more carries than Monty, but the Lions have a really great run defense as well. I think I'd prefer to play Kyren, of course, still, but it's just by no means a must start. Then Parkinson, kind of like him as a streaming option. Again, this is a game you're going to want pieces of. Super high over under. Parkinson's been a top 5 tight end over the last, or since Higbee went down, actually. Pretty involved. They manufactured touches for him. Big guy. He can definitely score a touchdown here. So I feel okay about streaming Parkinson if you got to do that. Next, we've got the Colts at the Seahawks. We get the return of Phillip Rivers in this one. Super excited to see how that's going to pan out. Probably not very well, but you never know. With Phillip Rivers there, it kind of makes Jonathan Taylor the only Colt I feel good about. And good is kind of an overstatement. I think if you had like a super stacked running back room, you could consider benching him. I don't want to do that, right? I'm in one league. I've got 4 running backs. I can play 3. I have ETN, I have Harvey, I have JT, and I have Hampton. I think I'm going to bench Hampton and those guys, but I've been on the edge there. I'm really worried that JT's just not going to get it going here, but he's always just one play away from a big game. So I don't love it, but if you're the Seahawks, right, you're going to give him 8-man fronts the whole game. You're going to dare Phillip Rivers to throw it deep, and that 44-year-old arm's probably not going to be able to do that. So if you need to play Tyler Warren, I think you can do that. Most of his targets are going to come close to the line of scrimmage. It makes me really worried about guys like Michael Pittman, especially Alec Pierce. Just no way that works out for him. Josh Downs maybe gets a bit of a bump with Rivers because everything's going to be so close to the line of scrimmage. But personally, like with Tyler Warren, I'm going to sit him for Mark Andrews in a league. He's not a must start anymore. This is really a tough situation there for the Colts. For the Seahawks, it's easy. You're going to play JSN, and I think I'm okay sitting everyone else. If you have to play a running back, I think Walker's the guy I would play. It's just really tough because the Seahawks could easily get up 20 at halftime in this game, and then you could have Zach Charbonnet get in the whole second half. So Charbonnet, desperation option, like right below that, like Chris Rodriguez tier for me, but just guys I'd prefer to not have to play if I can avoid it. Next, we got a really fun game, or at least a really important game between the Packers and the Broncos. Keep an eye on Josh Jacobs here. He didn't practice on Thursday. He did practice today on Friday, so if he plays, you're obviously going to play him. If he sits, I think Wilson's a decent running back too. Obviously, you're not going to play Emmanuel Wilson if Josh Jacobs is active. Other than that, though, like Christian Watson, clear wide receiver 1 for Green Bay right now, but he'll probably get most of the Patrick Surtain treatment. I'm honestly okay benching every single Green Bay wide receiver. This just isn't a matchup that gets me excited. I don't want to play Jordan Love. I picked up Trevor Lawrence to stream over him in a league this week, so I by no means want to play Jordan Love in this game. So really, for me, it's going to be Josh Jacobs and nobody else on the Packers side of the ball. And then for the Broncos, RJ Harvey feels like a lineup lock, getting a ton of volume. Really talented player. They're manufacturing touches for him out of the backfield as a pass catcher. You want to play RJ Harvey, even though the floor is probably the ceiling is probably a little bit lower in a really tough matchup here. Courtland Sutton, more of a wide receiver 2 here. I think if you're really desperate, you could look at Troy Franklin because Pat Bryant's not going to play in this one. He'll get that normal allotment of snaps again, but really, I think it's just going to be Sutton. You could play Bo Nix if you had to, but it really doesn't get me excited there. I think really you're playing Harvey. You can play Sutton, and then Bo Nix is like a lower end option that I'd prefer to not to play if I can avoid it. Next, we've got the Titans at the 49ers here. Even after last week, I'm still very okay sitting every single Titan. I don't want to overreact to Tony Pollard's 65-yard touchdown. You can play him as like a lower-end option if you need to, but he is by no means a must-start. I don't want everyone just overreacting and think he's going to get 25 carries again. It was like the first game they've had a lead in all season, so that's what that happened, and they're not going to have a lead in this game. So probably not playing any Titan if I can avoid it. For the Niners, McCaffrey, Kittle, both are must-starts. I can't really imagine sitting Brock Purdy in this one either. The Titans are a fantastic matchup. You kind of can't really run on the Titans, especially since Jeffrey Simmons has been back, but you sure can throw on them. So Purdy should go out there and have a big game. I think Juwan Jennings, more of like a lower-tier wide receiver 2/flex play. I feel pretty good about playing him, but not a must-start by any means. And then Pearsall, I just couldn't be convinced to play him right now. I would need to see it probably for 2 weeks in a row before I trust him there. We've got a fun Sunday Night Football game here. We've got the Vikings at the Cowboys. Really hoping J.J. McCarthy can go out here and play well here. It's a fantastic matchup. It's honestly not the worst stream if you have to play him. It would certainly take some balls. I had to choose between him and Trevor Lawrence in a league. I didn't have the stones to play McCarthy. I'm playing Trevor Lawrence. In another league, it's a 2-quarterback league, but I had to choose between Brissett and J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to go J.J. McCarthy because of the really tough Brissett matchup. So he's in play at least if you need to go there. Jefferson, you're playing him. I get it. It's been really rough, but the Cowboys are the best matchup you can have. This is going to be a game where the Vikings are going to have to score. I feel good about Jefferson. I'm going to play him. If you need to flex Addison, you can. He's by no means a must start, but there's definitely a world where he comes through. Then Aaron Jones, more of like a lower tier running back too. I don't really want to play him because he just seems to get injured with that shoulder injury basically every other week. The floor is near zero if you play him, so I don't really want to do that. For the Cowboys, I think it's pretty easy. Dak, CD, Pickens, and Javonte, all 4 of those guys are going to be in. CD cleared concussion protocol, so that's fantastic. And then Jake Ferguson popped up with a calf injury. Should play in this one, but if he doesn't play, obviously just a bit of a bump to everybody else. I wouldn't go to Schoonmaker or anything like that. But I'm also okay pivoting away from him. I picked up Fannin in the league. I'm playing him over Jake Ferguson for sure. You don't have to play Ferguson, but he's also not a bad play either. And then the Monday night game here, pretty fun one here. We got the Dolphins at the Steelers. For the Dolphins, it sounds like Devon Achane should be good to go, so of course he's going to be in your lineup. Jalen Waddle right back in as well. The Steelers are not a good defense. I don't want people to get afraid of the name, the Steelers. You can definitely score on the Steelers here. Then Darren Waller, not the worst stream at tight end here. I don't love it. He wasn't super involved last week. We saw Greg Dulcich actually out-target him, so it'd be tough to trust Darren Waller, but the Steelers are a plus matchup. Waller's got usage in the red zone, and if the Dolphins have to score in this one, then they should be able to, and then you'll maybe get a little bit of performance out of Waller. So he's a dart throw. If you're like an underdog and you need a spike week out of your tight end, maybe you were looking at playing like a guy like Colby Parkinson, and then your opponent played Kyle Pitts on you or something. You want to give yourself that little bit of upside. I think Waller has a little bit more upside than a lot of the other streaming tight end options. As far as the Steelers go, I'd play DK Metcalf here. I wouldn't expect this to be another week where he goes out there and gets 10 targets or anything, but you're still playing him. Jaylen Warren, good matchup for him as well. I'd be playing him. And then honestly, if you need to play Kenneth Gainwell as well, you can. It's annoying they're using 2 backs so much. It makes it tough to know who's going to do what. But Warren is still the starter in my mind, so you're still going to play Warren. And then if you have to go with Gainwell, he's been really involved, so you could definitely do worse than Gainwell there. So that'll do it for the starts and sits in Week 15, the first round of the Fantasy Football Playoffs. Up next, we've got Round 2, so hopefully this advice is helpful. Hopefully we can get you guys through, get you guys into Round 2. If you guys do have any specific start-sit questions, let me know in the comments below. I love helping you guys out there. It helps me make start-sit decisions of my own as well, so I love that. Let me know. I will get back to you guys before the games kick off on Sunday, and I'll catch you guys on Monday morning with the waiver wire video. So good luck, guys. Go get those wins, move on to the semifinals, and let's get one step closer to championships this season. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out these other videos here if you haven't. If you want more content, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at RealSteelFFB. I'll be more active on there as the season goes on. Thanks. Catch you later.